everyone, I'm Cheryl and welcome to the Sewing Room channel. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you some semi-homemade projects, things that you purchase, and I'll give you some suggestions on how to embellish them. As you can see, this is everything that was bought all in one grouping. It was on sale at Walmart, so you save a lot of money. This is great if you don't have a lot of time and you need to make a gift really quick, or you just want to make it for yourself. Okay, let's get started. So the items that I'm using to embellish came from Walmart, and it's a set. It has 2 towels in it, 2 pot holders, and 1 oven mitt. And this is what the label looks like, and this is all of the items. I got all of that on clearance for under $10. I think it was about $8 and some odd cents. So it's a great project for embellishing and giving it as a gift, or even keep it for yourself. So I'm going to be doing what they call applique. In other words, it's attaching one piece of fabric on top of another piece of fabric. And that fabric that's on top is usually some type of a particular shape. It could be a flower, a tree, anything you want it to be. And so for that, I'm looking at large print like this as my applique that I can cut out. And you want to select fabrics that work well together. So take this main fabric, pick one of the colors in here to use as your accent fabric. The same with this. It's got a lot of pink in it, but this little light teal would work very well with it. And then on this one here, I love these large flowers. You can use this as an accent fabric, and also for this one here, you can use as an accent fabric with this. So these are the fabrics I'm using in this demonstration. Now, this is what is starting out to be a flower. I'm not completely done with it because I haven't decided what all else I want to do on it. But this is how you could do a basic flower. You just cut out a circle, a large one, and then cut out some of your accent fabric in another smaller circle, and then put it on. So let me show you the steps I went through to do this. So I'm using these circle templates. Now you don't need to use these. You can take a large lid from a jar and do the same thing. And for the center circle, just take something else that's smaller. But if you're interested in buying the circle templates, these are made by June Taylor, and they have at least 3 that I know of different styles. There's hearts and some other little scalloped edge flowers, so you could even use those. So what I've done is on the back of my fabric that I want to use for the flower, I've traced around the circle. So take a pen or a pencil and just trace around it. That marking is not going to show when you're done. Then on the underside of it, on the pretty side of your fabric, place some other fabric that will not be seen. Then pin everything together and stitch right on your drawn line. When you're done, you want to trim the fabric off that's on the outside of your stitch line. You want to go about 1/8 of an inch away from your stitch line. If you have pinking shears, you can also use those, but remember, don't get too close to your stitches, so just cut all the way around, trimming it down to about 1/8 of an inch wide. When you're done, then you want to pull the back fabric and the front fabric away from each other. And then on the back fabric, remember this fabric is not going to show when we're done. Just do a small little hole and then flatten it back out, and then you're going to cut a larger hole. Then take it and turn it front side out. Then when you're done turning it front side out, you want to just reach inside the hole and push against your seam, go all the way around till it's all pushed out. Then go to your ironing board and press it flat. You would make your small circle the same way. Mine's about it's about 1¼ inches across. Remember, you can make it any size circle you want. And I'm putting it in the center of this circle, or of that flower right there. Now you have two different ways you can do this. You can either go ahead and select one of your applique stitches, and I'll show you what those are in a minute, and then stitch it on here. Then when you're done, you would just go ahead and place it on top and then stitch it all down. Make sure you pin this down. You don't want to just lay it there and hope it stays in place, because I guarantee you it will shift and then you're going to have a mess. Here are some of the applique stitches on my machine, so look for stitches there that look something like this. Now these are satin stitches. You may have just one of these on your machine, but remember, you can always adjust the width and the length. Always test all your stitches out on fabric so you can make sure that it's the right stitch for your needs. If all you have is a zigzag stitch, then you can adjust that zigzag stitch to look like this or like this by just adjusting the width and the length. So to do those applique stitches, I recommend you use an open toe presser foot. You can see that it's very large in the front of that presser foot, so you easily can see where you're stitching. And then you align the edge of your presser foot wherever your needle is. Your needle will move when you first press and select your stitch. That needle will either stay in the center or go to the left or to the right. So you want to make sure you align that presser foot up according to wherever your needle is. Then you want to just keep it in that position as you go around. And you're going to go slow. You're not going to go really fast because you want your stitches to come out really nice. In case you're interested in what this looks like on the back, as you can see the stitches, but remember, it's going to be hanging up or in use and no one's going to see that. Now you're probably wondering, how did I get this on this oven mitt? You can't use your sewing machine. I used a hand blanket stitch to go all the way around the edge, and it's a really simple stitch, and I will have a separate tutorial that you can go to that'll show you how to do the blanket stitch on both of these circles. So if you don't know how to do that, that link will be listed below your YouTube screen in the description section. This is the fabric I'm using on one of the towels. So what I did was I selected this fabric and I cut out all the way around the flower. I left quite a bit of fabric on the outside of the flower, which will be trimmed off later. So you cut it out, get some fabric to put on the back, and you stitch it up just like you did on that circle. So you turn this fabric pretty side down against your fabric for the back. Stitch on the edge of the flower petals, and then you're going to cut around the flower petals 1/8 inch from your stitch line. If you have any object you have that has little obvious dips in like this, you take your scissors and you cut in a slit all the way in. Try not to cut your stitches, and that will help your corners to lay very nice. So here's the flower. I've already stitched it down, and I used one of my blanket stitches to put it on. Now I do have the accent fabric in the center. I didn't like the center of this flower. It was sort of bland. So by putting this in it, just gave it a lot more personality. I also decided to put a stem on, which you can do on the first circle flower. You can even cut out leaves and put it around your flower. So all I did was cut this on the bias. So your bias goes across your fabric like this at a diagonal. I cut out a strip about 1.5 inches wide, folded the edges under, and then stitched around it just like I did this. On the bottom of this towel, I put Prairie Points. And these, you'll be surprised just how easy these really are. Now I will have a link on how to put Prairie Points at the bottom of the towel. I have a little bit of a trick that I use to hide it in the seam to make it look like the towel was purchased that way. And it's not difficult at all. You just need to get some instruction on how to go about it. But I thought this towel turned out really pretty. On this one, I've cut out 2 hearts, and you stitch the hearts together just like you did the circle. You use some fabric on the back side, trace around a heart, either create your own heart shape, and these are also June Taylor templates that you can purchase. I think there's 4 or 5 different size hearts in the package. So this is what I used, and then I layered them, stitched around the small one, stitched around the big one. Remember, always pin them down before you start stitching. I placed it right in the center of the towel. Now on this, I'm going to place a border using this fabric and some bias tape. So I'll be covering this part up. So when you do that, you want to measure the width of your towel. Add anywhere from 2 inches to 2.5 inches to that. You're going to cut out a strip of fabric that's that length. Not all 2 towels are made the same. They're all a different width. And I'm going to cut my strip 5.5 inches going this way. At each end, you're going to fold the raw edge over about 1/2 inch and press it with your iron. At the bottom edge, you're going to fold it over 1/4 inch and press. Fold over again 1/4 inch and press all the way across. I'm using Wright's bias tape, and you can get this at Joann Fabrics and Crafts. You can get it on the internet, and I bought mine at Walmart. Not all Walmart stores carry fabric and craft items. So you're going to cut a piece that's the width of your, or the length of your fabric strip. Now if you look close, I have the center of my, I have the raw edge of my fabric strip going down the middle of my bias tape. And then I've stitched it down along this edge, real close to the edge, all the way across. Now, after you've stitched the bias tape on, then you can go down to the bottom edge, and you're going to stitch close to this folded edge right here, all the way across. As far as placing your strip, where you want to place it, I always like to leave a little bit below the end of my towel, because the edges at the bottom of your towel are never straight. So I pull it below. You can either do it anywhere from 1/2 inch below or longer if you like, and then pin it down. At each end, you want to wrap this end of the strip around to the back and pin it down. Then you're going to stitch right along this edge all the way down to the bottom, and make sure you back stitch at the beginning and end. So this is what it looks like when it's all done. Now I'm going to turn it over to the back so that you can see what it looks like on the back. And here are some other types of flowers. These were all cut out of large print fabric, and on these two right here I've cut out little leaves. So, and when I did the leaves, I placed it underneath the flower fabric and then stitched everything on, so it looks like it's coming out behind the fabric. Now I'm going to have a link below showing you other applique projects that you can put on these items that you purchased. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and that you try doing this on some things that you've purchased. It'll save you a lot of time instead of having to try to make the pot holder and oven mitt all from scratch. I'm not saying you can't do it, but if you're in a rush, you have lack of time, this is great. Now remember, All of the links that I discussed are below your YouTube screen in that description section. Remember, you scroll down, click on Show More or the down arrow. Now, don't forget to follow me on Instagram and check out my Facebook page. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and happy sewing. If you like the Sewing Room channel, one of the best ways to show your support is to subscribe by clicking on that red subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to click on share to share this video with your friends. And make sure you click on the bell so you receive notifications for all my new videos. I'm Cheryl, this is Manny, and this is Scotty. See you next time.